welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie and this is the November 2017 wrap-up. For the month of November, I read 17 books. However, even though I did most of the reviews in vlog style, I did forget a few, so I will run all the vlogs right now so you guys can see those. I just finished my week with the Bad Boy by Brooke, Cumberland and Lyra, Parish. So I gave this book 4 stars and I really did enjoy it. At times I felt like I was frustrated with the book itself, but there's a lot of sexy time and everything like that. I was provided this as an ARC, so let me say that as well, for an honest and voluntary review. It starts off with letting you know that you're following 2 points of view in the book, and Veda, I hope I'm saying that name right, Veda is a romance writer and she has some writer's block, so she needs to take some time off and get away. She originally lives in Chicago, so she goes to Charleston, South Carolina? I think that is South Carolina. Yeah, I think so. But she goes there and rents this room through Airbnb and meets this guy named Ethan. Yes, Ethan. And they have like this journey. They're super sassy and just kind of almost like enemies when they first meet because they both have issues. And yeah, she spends a week there and things happen. Lots and lots of sexy time because she's a romance writer, so it's very descriptive, and I found myself skimming over some of the sexy time, but then just out of nowhere you get hit with some serious emotional issues and things and journeys, and yes, so good. I give it 4 stars. I just finished The Other Brother by Meghan Quinn, and initially I was only gonna give this book 4 to 4.5 stars. This book is about Aaron, who is one of the guys that we meet in previous books, my best friend's ex-boyfriend and Twisted Twosome. So we meet Aaron in those 2 books, and this is his story. And initially I thought this was going to be something completely different. However, I am happy with what evolved to be his story, and I found myself many times wanting to cry, and oh yeah, that last like 20% I was like luckily I was reading not in locations. I don't have a problem with crying in public, but I kept getting interrupted, so I would get to like a point where I would be emotionally connected with the story, and then I would have to do something or someone would interrupt me, so I wasn't like bursting out in tears, but I definitely felt it. And then I get to the end of the book, and the small little inscription, last wording, dedication that Meghan gives to this book just made it a 5-star book. I mean, seriously. I mean, I just finished it and oh, my heart hurts. Oh, am I emotionally just like drained from reading this story and all of the meaning that was behind it. It was just, at times I did find that there were some moments that I didn't particularly care for, but throughout the entire story it was amazing. So that is The Other Brother by Meghan Quinn, and I totally encourage you guys to take the ride with Aaron and finding out his journey, and it's so good. It's so very good. This one is definitely more emotional than the other 2 books that I mentioned. And I mean, there's so much funny that goes along with it and so many moments that are just amazing. But this one definitely grabs your heart and you're just like, oh, yes, how, just the things that Aaron has to go through and his life's journey. And then the other main characters in the book. This book is done in 2 parts and 2 voices. You have a female character as well. I'm not going to say who it is or anything like that, but it's such a journey. It's so great. It was so amazing. I loved every minute of it. So go check that out. I just finished Him by Carey Heywood. Oh my God. So I am a huge lover of Carey's work, and this book, I don't know why it took me so long to read it, for one, and for two, it was read completely out of order. I absolutely loved Sarah, and the fact that it went back and forth from flashbacks from the past to the present and all that jazz. It's about a young lady that has been in love with, her friend and best friend from like 7th grade for like ever, and his name is Him, and so good. I listened to it on audiobook and I just absolutely adored it. I can't wait to get into her, and I'm listening to that one next on audiobook as well, and that's going to be narrated by a male narrator, so I'm really excited. I'm a little leery or a little worried that I'm just going to get the same story over again, but right now I really just am in love. I'm so in love with this couple, and I can't wait to hear his side of the story versus her side of the story. I just can't wait. I can't wait. It was so good. I'm giving this book 5 stars because I just absolutely was drawn into the story. This young woman, this friend that she fell in love with, and then something happens, and the whole time I was like, what happened? What is going on? What happened? Why are you not together? But it was just so great. This journey was so much fun, and it drew me in. The narrator was amazing, and she definitely was majorly in part on why I was so drawn into this book. So that is Him by Carey Heywood. 5 stars. Go check that out. Hello. So I just finished Her by Carey Heywood, and I finished it while I was at my son's swim practice, so I wasn't able to record as soon as that happened, but as you can probably hear, I'm echoing because I just got home from swim practice and I am now recording this video, and oh my God, I loved it. Carey Heywood has like this very, very special place in my heart, and I absolutely love her, and I love her writing, and I just loved this story. Her is Will's side of the story from Him, and at first I feared that it would just be a rehashing of everything that you learned in Him, but oh, was I wrong. It was so much more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I found myself almost in tears quite a bit of the time while I was listening to this. I also listened to this one as an audiobook, and the narrator was amazing. His emotion that went along with the things that happened to Will and Sarah, and it was so good. So very good. And then on top of that, where Him stopped, you continued on with more of the story in Her, and it was just, I can't wait to get to them. I just can't wait to see what else is going to happen to them. I'm kind of sad that I don't get to listen to it on audiobook because it's not available on the site that I use, which is Hoopla Digital, through my library. And I just wish it was, because I would love to hear the 2 narrators going back and forth with Sarah and Will and the things that they're going to go through. And I am a little concerned about one of the things that happened in Her, and I want to kind of know if there's some backstory that goes there. So I can't wait to dive into that. And it was a very quick listen because I was able to speed it up just a little bit, and I just loved it. I give this book 5 huge stars as well. But of course, that is probably just a little bit biased because I love Carey Heywood so very much, and I love her style of writing. It's so real. You can definitely put yourself in the shoes of these characters and feel what they're feeling, and I just loved it. I absolutely adored it. So that is Her by Carey Heywood, 5 stars. Go check that out. And I have just spent the day with the one and only Von Lahr, and that is from Jock by Madden. Just finished this book. It was so good. I give it 4 stars. It was a little lengthy for me, and I did find myself skimming some of the scenes, but maybe that was because I wasn't in the mindset that I should have been in. But overall, it was a great book. I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely was not what I was thinking it was going to be. When I heard the name Jock and saw the cover with this delicious man on the front and some headsets, I thought it was going to be about music. Fortunately, it wasn't about music. It had some music parts to it because of his family history, and other parts of the story definitely make me want to go back and read the other books that were mentioned in the book, or other characters that were mentioned in the book, and get to know them. But this book is about Von, who is a radio personality, and he is a shock jock, which means he talks about crazy things on the radio. And you start off with him in LA, and you get a little bit of taste of him right off the bat, and it's so good. It was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, 4 stars. Go check that out. That's Jock by Madden. So I just got finished with So Much More by Holden, and I have so many feelings about this book. Yeah, I listened to it on audiobook. It had 3 different narrators for the 3 main characters that were in the book, and I've hated characters before, but I have never despised a character like I do from this book. And it was just, so the story revolves around Miranda, Seamus, and Faith. And it's their journey, past and present, and just things that are going on with them, and how their lives intertwine, and how their journeys intertwined. And for the most part, I spent a lot of the time just cringing and hating the character of Miranda. A lot of her story was in the past and not in the present, whereas Seamus and Faith were in the present and dealing with some of the ramifications of Miranda's actions. And I was just like, I just hated her. I hated her. I actually wanted to stop reading or listening to the story because I was just so irritated with her as a character, and she gets no redemption. I mean, supposedly she had some life-changing events that changed her mind through her journey, but yeah, I don't see it. I still hate her. I don't like her as a character. She really brought down the book, in my opinion. I'm only giving it 4 stars because of her as a character, and I was just like, just didn't want to deal with it. And then I don't think that I got enough of Seamus, his journey, and I don't think I got enough of Faith's journey. I mean, they both had super complicated journeys that they were supposed to be taking, but I just didn't feel them. I was not connected to them. I mean, I felt like Seamus was a doormat and Faith was just naive, and I just didn't get enough. And then the ending to me was very rushed and didn't give a lot of insight into anything in particular. And now my dog's barking. But that was So Much More by Holden. 4 stars. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. I just wasn't connected. I did sort of like the premise behind it, but not my real big cup of tea on that one. So this is take 2. I just finished. Gotta love that. I just finished The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout on my way to my training. And I was very emotional about it throughout it. I'm only giving this book 4 to 4.5 stars, and if you know anything about Goodreads, you can only give whole stars for book. So it'll show as 4 stars. And the reason I'm doing that and not giving it the full 5 stars is because most of the book I was quite annoyed with the character of Mallory. And yes, she's 17. Yes, it's a coming of age story. Yes, she's finding herself. It's a journey and everything like that. But for me, I just wasn't feeling her character, and I almost DNF'd it because she was that annoying to me. But then I finished it, and I was genuinely moved by her journey and the things that she learned, the things that the other characters learned, the things that happened within the book, within the story. And it was just a very moving coming of age story that is just absolutely beautiful. And I would think that kids of that age frame should hear, you know, this book. I listened to it on audiobook, as you saw, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Driving back and forth, I found myself almost in tears at some points because their journey, Mallory's journey, and the other character's journey is really difficult. Just to think about their journey, and if I had to do that when I was their age, it would be very difficult. Now, I will say that there are some triggers in this book, some things of abuse of all nature and violence and things like that. So if you're sensitive to those type of topics, be careful when you go into this book. But otherwise, it is an extremely well-written book. This is my first Jennifer L. Armentrout book, and I have a collection of other ones. I've met Jennifer quite a few times at different author signings, and I don't know why it's taken me this long to pick up one of her books. This does prompt me and encourage me to read more of her books. That was The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I give it 4 stars. Alrighty, hopefully I can get this review done. I finished A Steel Heart by Amie Knight. I am driving to work right now. I give that book 5 humongous, amazing, wonderful stars. And I knew Amie was going to rip my heart out with this book and just drive me absolutely up a wall in the best way, tear my heart out and crush me, and that is exactly what she did with A Steel Heart. Woke up this morning because I cried myself to sleep last night trying to finish it, and finished it this morning in tears before work, before training, before getting on the road, emotionally distraught, kind of happy that I finished it before getting in the car and before I got to training, so I didn't have to go into my training with a red face. That's neither here nor there. That doesn't take away from the story at all. Like I said, I gave it 5 humongous stars. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing story about Miranda, who is an editor, and she is a romance editor, and she likes to put books into a little homely like library, and there is this guy that lives across the hall from her in an apartment, and she wants to find out more about him. His name is Holden. He has sort of a journey that he needs to take. He's prior military and has some really bad things that happen to him, and he needs to work those through. She needs to work through her issues that she has, their journey together, and just through it all as individuals and as a couple was absolutely amazing. Amazing, amazing, so amazing. So that is A Steel Heart by Amie Knight. 5 stars. Go check that out.